Because I'm not making as much money as she is.
Good.
I believe that the importance of those systems, Mike, in all honesty, when I first started in the business, I didn't have all these things. I learned all of these things from my coach, from Mike, and I'm adding each of these things each year. So
All the time.
Yeah, and this, your system, I believe has helped me take on all these different sort of characteristics, all these different traits.
But really, as a professional dancer, weren't you following a system every day?
100%.
So the truth is, for you, a system is pretty normal.
Yeah.
Okay. For a lot of us, systems are not normal, which is why it's so hard. Lisa,
I work on Mike's 5-minute rule and short-term memory.
you work on Mike's 5-minute rule and short-term memory. Explain the short-term memory.
Well, you know, whether you had a positive day or a negative day, I start at 0 the next day.
Okay, so you do what Ted says.
Yeah. Yep.
So do you know where that short-term memory thing came about?
Mm-mm.
The quarterback for the Detroit Lions, I played golf with him probably 30 times. Okay, Gary Daniels is his name. Lives down in the Fort Myers area of Florida now. And I said to Gary, what is it like when you're back in the pocket ready to throw a pass? And a guy that weighs 330 pounds and runs fast hits you and knocks your head off. He said, well, it's really very simple. You get up, you go back to the huddle, and the only rule in life is you can't allow what happened to be carried forward. Because if I carry what happened to me in the last play forward, I will go back and be defensive and be afraid. Now, guys and gals, if you look at what she just said, develop a short-term memory if you want long-term wins. It's a great thought. Thank you. Lavert.
The choice of success.
Okay, no, let's stop. Everybody write this down. This one was fascinating too. On his blueprint, he wrote the choice of success. So tell us what you mean by that.
When I wake up in the morning, before I put one foot on the floor, I check in with myself, I see where I am, where my head is, and I decide one thing I'm going to achieve in the day. One thing.
You do this every day?
Every morning. Every morning.
And you're not analytical?
No.
Does that sound a little analytical to anybody besides me? I mean, it's so great. When he sent this to me, I actually read it. Then I read it and I went, God, I wonder if he actually does that. Before I put one foot in the ground, I wake up in the morning, I check in with myself and decide how my day is going to be. God, that is so good. Everybody applaud that one. But you really do it.
It's a habit. It's just a habit. I mean, I wake up, I'm like, oh, good. What's the day going to be like? Is Mike going to put me on stage today? Or So yeah, there was that day, there's that moment of just what's happening with my body. Am I in fear right now? Am I moving forward? What am I deciding that I'm going to bring into my life today?
And how old are you?
45.
Because you look so young. Jeez, I actually thought you were probably 33, 34. Oh my, you're 45?
It's a wow.
Oh my goodness, good for you. That's great. I think we know what's next. How old are you, Lisa?
44.
Are you really? 44? Wow, I would never have guessed that in 100 years. Good for you. Congratulations. So obviously it's not the color of the skin that makes the difference. It has to be the smile. All right?
Okay.
Well, both of them look so young to me. Of course, that's because I'm 69. Because I have kids that age, which I do. I have 2 kids that are your age. No, I'm not adopting them. God, Lavert, I am so impressed that what you're doing daily. And I'm really impressed with somebody that's as expressive as that can focus on what you have to do. Because that's really unusual. Lisa, next.
Take the time to work on business plan and source my business.
Okay, now you said 2 things there. Take the time to work on my business plan and source my business.
Mm-hmm.
So in your business plan, part of it is sourcing your business.
Correct. Finding out where it's...
How much time do you spend working on your business plan, reviewing it, reading it, etc.?
Well, I look at the plan probably 3 or 4 times a week, but I actually sit down I took it from Bernie, you know, he was up here, and on Fridays I review it and see what I did wrong and what I need to work on.
You really do that?
Mm-hmm.
I have to tell you, you hear me saying, you really do that? You really do that? Because I know it's something that we all wish we did, okay? That's great. So I review my business plan sometimes 2 or 3 times a week.
Right, and the 5 and 10 year plan that you had us write.
And I made them write a 5 and 10 year plan, which is even more fun. Now you're gonna love the next point on Lavert's plan. Go ahead, Lavert.
Fear.
Fear.
Okay. I accept fear as a norm and I proceed cautiously, yet more importantly, I move forward and through the fear to attain my goals. I am always working on defeating fear so that I can attain my goals. A healthy fear in my gut says a possibility of growth is near. I work on breaking through fear as often as I can.
What do you have to fear? You're young, you're handsome, you're talented, you're professional. What do you have to fear?
Getting on stage with you.
Getting on stage with me? Okay. Was this a scary thing for you?
It was a scary thing for me. I knew I would be fine doing it, but when I'm on stage, I'm dancing. I'm performing. That.
Well, what? Go ahead. You must have a couple dance steps you could just do.
I got paid $100,000 for it.
But so, here's the key question I would like to know the answer to. You didn't have the fear dancing with Celine Dion because that was your business. You have a fear coming on the stage with Mike because this hasn't been your business.
Right. I didn't practice this.
Yeah.
I didn't practice this. I didn't go through this. This wasn't repetition. This isn't a habit. Getting on the stage lights up. It's showtime. It's ready to go. So if I walk in, I'm not feeling good. If something's broke, I mean, I've performed on broken ankles, twisted necks, everything else, but it's showtime. We hit it.
So the only difference is, for you, the fact that you hadn't done this would create a little hesitation. But if you do your listing presentation in front of a mirror every day for a year, by next year in July, you'll be one of the best ever, won't you?
I will.
So see, some of these things that I'm saying to Lavert are who he is as a person, which is so important. Congratulations, because that fear thing, and getting through it is critical. Lisa.
I prospect 12 to 15 hours per week to attain the goals that I've set.
You prospect 12 to 15 hours a week.
Yep.
And what types of prospecting do you do?
Phone.
Well, phone, okay.
Expired,
What do you
past
call?
clients, center of influence.
Past clients, centers of influence, expired, for sale by owners.
Just listed, just sold.
How well do you use the scripts?
I follow them. I follow like how you have it written.
Do
Everything.
you read them when you're on the phone?
Yes.
Okay, so you actually get
I
on
have
the
it
phone.
a card in front of me. I know it by heart by doing it so much, but I always have it in front of me.
Okay. So your use of the scripts is the $600,000 payout.
Right, the direct correlation.
And the direct correlation. So guys and gals, here's what I want you to hear. She used the scripts, she gets paid $600,000. She doesn't use the scripts, she gets paid $100,000.
Right.
So those scripts are virtually the difference between a wonderful lifestyle and a regular one.
You make it easy for us. You tell us what to say.
Okay, I appreciate that. So 12 to 15 hours a week. Which one?
Well, sometimes I'll work on Saturdays, so that's why I kind of put that variance in there. So usually between, usually 12 and 13 hours a week.
Okay, good. I really liked the last point, Lavert, on yours. So if you'd read it to him, please.
Exposure and improving. I surround myself with bigger thinking people and I review their blueprints for success. This exposure I must have in order to improve in all aspects of my life. I attend at least 4 of your events, Mike, each year, so that I am around these great agents here as well, so that I can stretch my thoughts and my mind. Each year I try to focus on adding 10 to 20% of what you teach us, especially when my ego starts to fight the information. This is when I step into blind faith.
So if you do 50 deals, what do you earn in income?
50 deals puts me at $250,000.
So that's more, that's excellent, let me tell you. That's great. So 2.5 times what you had when you left.
Yes.
What was the maximum opportunity that you had in show business for you as a professional dancer?
When I retired 7 years ago, I probably reached what I felt like was my peak because of my motivation had dropped, wanting to do it.
Okay.
But I believe now, I mean, dancers from that show, they've gone on to great things like So You Think You Can Dance and all these other great things. And they're making some nice money, but if they're probably making $200,000 to $300,000 now.
Okay, so now, 7 years later, they're making what you can earn today selling real estate.
Because of television and all these things.
And you don't have to practice 9 hours a day.
Well, I don't have to, but if I practice 4 hours a day, I'd destroy with it.
So what's the most you will practice in a day now?
The most that I'm practicing now is probably 30 minutes each day. And in all honesty, Mike, I pull back sometimes. Sometimes it's 15 minutes, sometimes something pops up on my
And don't you feel guilty about that?
I do feel guilty because I know what my potential is. And I know that I'm not helping myself move forward. Yet at the same time, I'm not beating myself up about it. I'm just trying to keep improving and keep improving. There's a pioneer in dance, her name is Martha Graham. She said it would take 10 years to become a professional dancer. 10 years. You'll be dancing in that period, but it takes you 10 years. I believe the same thing here with the system. I'm learning things constantly. As long as I keep adding and I keep adding and I keep adding, I'm going to get to my goals.
So in 5 years, you could be at $1 million a year.
I will be, definitely.
Good for you. And number 10, Lisa.
I follow the scripts verbatim, and I don't deviate from them.
So you really don't deviate.
A little bit, not.
Well, now see.
Well, I'm expressive, so I have to
which
follow
one
the
is it?
scripts. I follow the scripts because if I get derailed, it could be a nightmare.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's just like if a pilot is flying from Detroit to LA and they get 2 to 3 degrees off on their flight plan, they end up in San Francisco.
Right.
And that's true, by the way. A golf shot, which is a half a degree off on impact, is 30 yards off when it lands. So you could get derailed like 20% on your goals if you don't follow the scripts.
Easy. Yeah.
Okay? What's the most important thing, Lavert, you want to say to this audience if they said to Lavert, the key to being a great professional dancer, to dance worldwide, to dance with Celine Dion, for God's sakes, what is the one thing I have to do to be as good as you were and as good as you're going to become?
You have to employ someone that knows better than you. You have to get that. And to me, that's coaching. Mike didn't pay me to say that, but as soon as I saw Mike the first day with my friend Sue, I was like, that's home for me. I know that. I know that system. I can do that. So any of you guys out here that if you are not in coaching, Gailey pulled me back into coaching Mike about 3 years ago when I was doing 2-1.
Okay.
For myself, I probably had about $2,000 left in the bank, and it shook me to the core to know that I was now spending another $1,000. It shook me to the core. But if it was not for the coaching, I wouldn't be in the position that I am now. So I stress 100%, you have to have coaching, someone that can lead you to your goals.
Yeah, but see, that's not fair because in your business, you had to have a coach.
Yeah, you had to have a coach, or in all honesty, when I was looking for dancers for the show, I was a supervisor, I could tell who was coached and who wasn't coached. So if I'm looking at 300 people in front of me, I knew the two I wanted immediately.
So when you were a supervisor in the dance troupe,
Yes.
and you were selecting the dancers to dance behind you, you could tell by watching them just do a rehearsal
100%.
who had a coach.
100%.
And see, what they don't understand is all the good agents in this room can talk to somebody here for 2 minutes and know if they have a coach or not.
Right.
Just like that. Thank you. Lisa, what is the one thing you would like to say to them before we get out of here and move on?
Well, the same thing, the coaching, and you didn't pay me to say that, but before I started with Mike Ferry, I was doing about 25 deals. So last year I did 97. So
We went from 25 to 97?
in 3 years, yeah. So really,
Holy
what was the
smokes.
difference? It was the system, exposure to all these great agents, and you and my coach, and I'd never leave.
So why are you going from 97 back to 75?
100.
Oh, 100, okay.
I'm focused
Awesome.
on higher price points, so I'm
Good for you.
transitioning.
So is there anything that they've said that we can use? Yes. Let's give them a nice